section as far as the insurance group that you saw. It has since moved out of this. It started as a country singing group and a theater and everything that's been placed in here. But there's a couple segments in this logo that I'd like you to take a look at, give yourself a try. When you take the lettering, for example, this is just Arial lettering. I'm just going to place it up here at the top and stretch this across. That one's pretty simple. Same with the larger type. Placing this on here. Okay. And if you recall the registration mark, when you click on this part, is going to be this section here. And when you have that, just go ahead and highlight the type, and that'll get you the segment in there to place that in there. So it's pretty quickly put together. And then this part that has this elliptical shape is going to be the section that's cut off. So from the beginning, you're just going to take an ellipse for this, and I'm going to swap this over so I just have the outline, and trying to locate just the outside elliptical shape. And once you have that, then you want to set a ruler guide right down the middle. So when you see this part, let's see if I can switch this back, the ruler guide coming right out of the middle, put it right on the center point of that elliptical shape. And that way you can simply do another ellipse with the option held down and stretch this out to try to fit that secondary ellipse right there. Okay? So just to give this a color so it's easy to be seen, just going to place that on there. Click on the outside edge one. So I have two of these selected just to show that piece. While they're both selected, and I'm going under the Pathfinder section, so when you take a look, it'll pop right through. That's giving me that shape. Hey T, be quiet please, you guys. So I'm doing this. I'm going to take a rectangle tool and option this out from the center out as well. And you can see that it has this particular selection inside here. So I have two shapes that I can then just illustrate and use the Pathfinder right on top of it. And that gives me that easily placed in section. So just select all three of these items and then go to Window Align, and this will give you the Align palette right up here. And I'm just going to click on this and key object, click onto that and center it. So now they're all centered right into that section. Shift key to grab the registration mark and just group that together. So now that piece has that section just by using that little highlight section. This lower one, when you take a look at it, has a little bit of trickier section. It does have a piece to it, so I'm going to give it a center line right from there. And just very quickly go ahead and take the Path tool, reset it, and take this out. And start right where the center line is, right to that top piece. And then just click on here and hold the Shift key down just to place that. Use the eyedrop tool to select that color. Make sure this is highlighted. Hold the Option key and click on this part. Hit vertical and copy. And now you have two pieces of this that you can then use the Pathfinder section to bring that together. So that gives you that piece. The parts that are in between this, the same idea. So I'll take the pen tool again and try to create this outside edge. curve that. Hold the shift key down to keep it straight on either side, and the shift key keeps it straight all the way to the top. Again, selecting it with the reflection tool, Option and click on side there, hit copy, and now I have two pieces for that section. So I'll give that a separate piece. I'm just going to hit Shift X so it just has it as an outline. So again, I think this one, I'll click the point right on the guide there, zoom in just a little bit, so it's going on either side of this. With the shift key you can see the handles come equidistances from the piece below it. That's the selection for this one. The reflect tool, if you have the keystroke, is just the letter O. And just Option and click here, and hit copy. Now that gives me these two parts for that section. And I'll do the same with this just so I can set it across. Click off, and then in the shape tool you're going to have the star. So I'm going to Option and click off the star. If I just hold the shift key, it becomes an obtuse shape. I can drop this down to fit. You can see it's not fitting on the lower side, so just take the direct selection tool, highlight that point, and just count out the same space distances across, and that makes that pretty easily for that shape. And then the pen tool, just quickly on top of this part here, you can curve this section, makes it very easy. Find the midpoint of this one. Remember to set the anchor point to get a straight line. And just using the eyedrop tool for that. And you can see it's kind of separated as it's punched out. So it's going to do an Option there and give this a different color. Here's the star, give that a color so you can see it. And why this one is highlighted on top, the blue and the star, shift key it, and just punch that through. Now you have that selection coming through. So give that a light color. And then just bring this one forward, just using the Command and the bracket keys to bring that forward. So now the only thing left is the type. So the selection here for the same font has a serif on it. That's what that selection is right there. So just select all of this and just type in Opry like that. And here's just using a little bit of the pieces that the font allows you to work with. So just concerned right now with the placement of the three pieces on the right. Okay, take the text tool, highlight the O, and then just take the character and just inside increase the point size of this one. And as it comes through, I'm just going to highlight these three, and this is the part where you talk about the tracking and the kerning, tightening this up for the space in between those letters. And you can do it separately, just hold the Option with the arrow key, click inside these. Okay, so that gives you that selection. And again, always a good idea to move that up a little bit, do a copy of this. And here's the section with the type, and once it's all set up, just create the outlines. Just going to double click so it's isolated. So here this piece is isolated. Take the direct selection tool and grab that section of the R. Drop that down first and then over. And that gives you that piece. This is the isolation group, so just backtrack it over. And now you have this as one piece. Again, you also have the registration mark that you can click on and just put Option R. Highlight that and just drop it down. I'm just going to make this bold. Okay, so those are the pieces of that. The only one that's changed up now is this one. So I'm just going to duplicate that. So I have the copy of the type in case something goes horribly wrong here. And you can see this has the same concept coming across. It's highlighting the text. You have horizontal spacing, which you can change with the font itself. So you can kind of click inside of here as well. So I'm just going to drop that down a little bit. Okay. Take the text selection, highlight the O, and just increase that. And that's at 37. I'll just highlight the G and do the same. And now I have that part placed in there. Again, now that I've modified, I'm just going to set it over here because now I have to take it apart. I'm going to take the text tool right in between these two and do the option and just set that over a little bit. And now take the font, take a look at it, make it bold. I might do that just a little bit. And then go to the type and go to create outlines. Now before it was there, I'm just going to ungroup this time. So object ungroup. And now when you click on it, you can see the letters are separate. So when you take a look, this letter R does the same as the top one. So I'm just going to isolate it so I don't grab anything else. Select that distance. Come down and over. And look at it real close and just grab these points right here and just send those all the way across. So when you see this, it's just taking those points on that edge. And you could grab it, but I'm just letting it do the train right out here. And just space bar so you can see it. And since it's going to be a straight edge, just going to take a rectangle tool right there. Let's see if that's going to do it. See if I can bring that across. Put that on there. And we'll just delete the points there. So when you take a look at this with the direct selection tool, I'll back this out. Okay, so now I have the rectangle tool with this section and just punch that out. So that makes it nice and clean. The only last part here is just the letter A. I'm going to take the pen tool and just come down here. And if you watch this part, I'm going to give it a color so you can see it. This A and this letter, if I punch this through, it'll just take that section off. And now, since I move this over, I'm just going to bump this over just a little bit. And then select this to group it and just move it up. Make sure I have the G selected. Make sure you get all this selected. There you go. Okay. So that's where it is. I'm going to give this just a color so it can be seen. X for that one. Back this up a bit. Give that a different color just so you can see that section. Okay. So just minus the color, that's just giving you a couple things to take a look at. Again, once you have it, copy it and then take this into Photoshop here. See if this will do it. I'll give you this section. Okay, that's the one, and then Command Tab and go back to Illustrator and come back to this guy.